Hey, welcome back. I'm actually out here watching the sunset. I wanted to make the second video that I said that I'd make for today, and it touches on what I talk about in the first video. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to go check out that first video. But it's regarding finding your true self, becoming your true self. Where do you start, or how do you find that person? And as I mentioned in the first video that I made today, if you're already questioning how you find that true self or how you get to that point, you're much closer than you think, because that person is within you and always has been within you, but you may be covering that person with old parts of your life. And when you begin to question that, it means you've come pretty close to initiating that change, or maybe that change has already started and you are on the very edge of what can become finding your true self, waking up to who your true self is. And one of my favorite Alan Watts quotes, in short, is, imagine waking up having never gone to sleep. When you begin to question your own identity and who you are and how you feel about that person and how you interact with that self, how you interact with the world, is it genuine and authentic to who you are? When you begin to question that identity is when you begin to wake up. And sometimes that process starts when some type of change is initiated in your life that may be an external thing, some type of external factor in your life, a loss of a loved one, some type of positive change. You get a promotion at work and you aren't sure if you know enough or qualified enough. So you start to seek out that information, or you're seeking out help with grief, or maybe you're seeking help with addiction or depression. And any of those things, along with any number of positive things coming into your life, including things that you may want to bring in, but you start to embrace and you realize those things don't align with who you are inside, with all the feelings and emotions and ways of being that you may have carried to where you are now, just assuming that was you. Well, they may not feel right, and you may start to recognize that those things have to go or change. And sometimes those are internal things to you. Sometimes those are friends. And sometimes those are places and things. But when you begin to question all of what you see around yourself and how you interact with those things and how those things interact with you, how you respond to that, is when you begin to wake up. And in that waking up is where your true self lies. But you do have to question why you respond certain ways. What are those triggers that you have? What are those darknesses within you that are emotions that haven't been dealt with, or situations that you may be carrying traumas from? These become the dark moments that you have to analyze and deal with and process out. Let go of why you react that way, why you're resentful for it, what that situation really was. Maybe it's a situation you created or something else that just happened along your life that you were a part of, but you've carried a resentment, you've carried some type of trauma and reaction to it. These are all the dark things that come along with your awakening. Your waking up to your true self means facing all those dark corners in your mind, in your heart, in your soul that you may have cast aside because it hurt too much to look at those things, regardless of what they are. But the more that you look into those dark corners, the more you turn all the stones over inside your soul and your heart and your mind to dig those things up and process through what you need to process through in order to let go of those things and unburden yourself of those past situations, those past hurts, those past failures or fears. The more you turn those stones, light those corners, and work on those items, the more that you free up that space within your soul, within your heart, within your mind, to allow for your new sight of self and the outside world. And that usually is in what people call a spiritual journey. And for some people that involves recovery from addiction, recovery from depression, or just rebuilding themselves, wanting better for themselves and the people around them. And that comes with a lot of spirituality because you face a lot of darknesses. You question a lot of things on the inside and outside world that have to do with existential issues, our existence, our creation, our interaction with each other, what we are we energy, are we love, are we God's creation? And those are questions that you begin to ask yourself because inevitably some of us, maybe all of us, have bits and pieces of those questions within some of those dark places. But spirituality also comes along with it as you start to become more whole feeling, as those dark corners get light cast onto them and you fix those issues for yourself. You release those pains. And along with that comes love for yourself, respect for people in your outside world, for everybody. Love for the outside world. And that becomes your light. You start to shine the light that's always been within you but has been covered or muddied by lack of change. Things done to you in the past that you never resolved. Situations that you're scared of, Those things all cover who we truly are. And when we face those and change ourselves by releasing those things, and then allow ourselves a constant evolution forward into our own personal change, that waking up never ends. That self-discovery becomes who we are permanently. And no matter what brought you to that change, to question who you are, how to find that person, the situation can be difficult to start or to stay in pursuit of, because you will be misunderstood. You'll feel uncomfortable when you have to feel those past pains and have to work through them. And you'll feel alienated or alone, because a lot of that revolves around self-reflection and spending time with yourself to really work those things through. And it may feel easier to quit. But if you're already on this path, you've already started this journey, or you're already questioning who you are and how to find that person, you've already initiated it. You've already set it in motion, and you already have that desire to wake up. So keep going. Be brave for yourself and for the people around you that will benefit later, which is everybody. Because the more of us that do that, the more of us that open our eyes and question who we are on the inside and do the inner work that's required of us to better ourselves for ourselves and the world around us, the more of us that do that, the better everything around us gets, whether we see the immediate result or not. Maybe it's just one of those things that has a very long-lasting effect that we may never feel directly, aside from knowing who we are and how we deal with others compassionately and with love and with understanding. And maybe it never directly comes back in some type of obvious blessing, or obvious sign that our work has paid off for somebody else. But we just continue. And we just trust that by healing ourselves, by going on this journey of waking up to our true selves and discovering what that means for ourselves, and then embracing it wholly and completely, and sharing ourselves in that capacity with the world around us, benefits the world more than we may ever see. And it benefits people that we may never realize or benefit from that situation. But just by our own waking up, our own embracing of our true self, and letting go of our pasts and our darknesses that we've carried into our present, we're illuminating the world in a better way. And if you're doing this, if you've started this, or you're questioning where you go next, or if you can, I will hope you trust yourself enough to know that you can do it. And it will be difficult and lonely at times. But the fact that you're already questioning it, how to find yourself, who your true self is, trust that that voice is your inner knowing telling you that there is much better for you, and then in turn for the world around you. So I encourage you to be brave and face down that journey and push through it and commit to it and wake up to the beauty of the world that we get to be a part of, and the beauty that's within us that sometimes has been burdened by our own pasts and our own reluctance to change. And whatever that change may be that's happening for you, just trust that if you commit to it and you trust that change and evolution for yourself, everything around you gets more beautiful. Even if you're not sure what the next step always is, trusting that process is part of that waking up, and knowing that there's a bigger purpose for every one of us. I hope that all made sense, and I hope someone needed to hear that. And if you are on your spiritual journey, your recovery journey, your growth journey, however you want to look at it, however you embrace that, if you are on that, I commend you. And again, I encourage you to be brave and continue and do that work, pursue that path, and enjoy it along the way to the best of your ability. And then one day it'll all make sense, and everything around you will look different and feel different. And the way that you treat people around you will look different and feel different. And the way that you treat yourself will look different and feel different. And then you'll see the bigger picture of why it was all worth it. Not just those small wins along the way, but when you start to feel that whole shift for yourself and how that impacts everyone around you, you will understand why you didn't quit and why it was worth it to continue. Thanks again for watching this. I hope it all made sense, and I hope you guys join me for more of these later. Bye.